y'all. The show must commence. How y'all doing tonight?
I said, how y'all doing tonight?
No, for real.
Good evening.
All right, good evening, everyone. So tonight we will be showcasing some powerful performances from WKU's very own nationally recognized speech and debate team, winning the NFA National Speech Tournament, AFA National Speech Tournament, and the NFA National Debate Tournament all in 1 year, a total of 9 times, an accomplishment that no other university in the nation has ever done once.
We kindly ask you to turn off all your cell phones, the iPods, all of that, so nothing goes off. We welcome you to engage into all the performances. You can laugh, you can snap, you can even turn up, they dancing real good.
All right, and with that, we'd like to welcome the first speaker of the evening, all the way from West Palm Beach, Florida, majoring in communication studies with a minor in African American studies. Sophomore Ryan Gosling will be presenting a program of poetry cuttings.
Tonight, Ryan's poetry program will inform you on Black geology. Due to the Atlantic slave trade, a dissonance between Black people and the ancestral roots it has been created in sites like Ancestry.com. It's not a site for color.
However, Ryan explores the boundaries of Black genealogy, connecting our family history beyond the tree. Please welcome to the stage, Ryan Gosling.
I was planted before the plantations witnessed the birth of a civilization whose people will capture cargo carried across those cursed seas. They call me the Black Family Tree. Oh, God of evergreen and foliage. Oh, my whole life I've never known my lineage, so I come as humbly as I know how, asking you to share with me the testimony of my blood, because so much of it has been splattered on the concrete and shed in vain. So I must know that my history means more than just pain and loss. Boy, you want to know of your history? You want to know how far down your roots run, boy? If I was you, I'd run, because these roots is rotten with grief. But if you must know of your black as midnight body's beginning, then climb atop my canopy and eat the fruit of your genesis. When discussing the transatlantic slave trade and the long-term effects associated with African Americans in this country, we seldom recognize the devastating realization that we as Blacks have lost the ability to trace our genealogy past the plantation. Meaning, the earliest accounts of our lives that we have been centered around vicious mental and physical abuse, forcing many of us to believe that our history will always be rooted in pain. However, what we as a culture must understand is that although our history may be volatile, our bodies will always be victorious. So through the poetry, Magnolia Names by Portia O, Trees by Vanessa Smith, and Listen by Najma, a performative reevaluation of our black genealogy. I pluck my ancestors from its limbs and feast on their knowledge, and my mouth becomes wet with their blood, and I begin to ascend to where my bloodline runs deep like the Nile, and suddenly my twin is Moses, the bassinet capsizing, drowning, becoming the Nile kingdom's son, a wind gust away from having a pharaoh as a father. Oh, I was the seed of his holiest of bloods, but then the white man drowns me in the sands of time and unearths me under the Mason-Dixon in the cotton fields of the South. In 1850, there was a white woman, figures, by the name of Elizabeth Beatty. She owned over 50 slaves, and my last name is Beatty. So I wonder if this be the name my ancestors placed aside their papers and fled the plantation with. I wonder if there is a magnolia tree down in Mississippi with all of my family's blood on it. But no, this can't be. There has to be more about my origins. These chains can't be the only link back to my lineage. Oh, there has to be a better beginning amongst these strange fruits. Boy, you came to me looking for your blood's name, but so much of it has spilled in the Atlantic. I only know of the whiplash and the dogs. How? So boy, you just have to keep digging, bite past the rotten core of your body's history, and you give it its new name. Every time I see a black person with the last name Bailey, I wonder if I'm finally at my family reunion. But every time I see a white person with the last name Bailey, I wonder if she knows what her family has done, what abuse has allowed her to have her breath. I take another bite, and I'm transported to the front of the bus, where I learned of my Auntie Rosa's movement. Take another bite, in the air filled with dynamite and smoke. They found me in the rubble next to my cousins, those 4 little girls who were left unrealized. I take another bite, and I can see my Uncle Emmett drowning under the weight of that cotton in my hands, reaching out to grab his flailing body, but I can't reach him no how. So I ask the tree, how long must I lay in a pool of my own ancestry? What a privilege it must be to know exactly which end of the whipping whip has your name on it, to know exactly what your name is attached to know you had a name etched atop bedroom doors instead of the corners, and people still have the nerve to wonder why black names still don't matter. Why our runaway syllables aren't easier to catch. It's because when these black bodies of a country finally get to gain their independence, they get to name themselves. I ask tree. Yeah. There has to be more about my DNA than my veins splitting, spilling blood running all over this gutted land you call a country. Maybe running is a country. Maybe everyone who lives there misses someone they thought would live forever. Oh, God of supposed evergreen in every one of my niggas. Tell me, what is the point? What is the purpose? When every time I envision my ancestors' roots, they're covered under the most unholiest of blood, sword, and don't you dare! Yes, the fruit I may bear may be a little bitter from all the blood and bone wrapped around its flesh. But know that blood be sacred and everlasting, and every time it spill, a new tree sprouts in its wake, making a whole hood of soft jade and slow green explosions, dark and fused at the roots. So don't you ever pity the bodies that have adored my branches, because those bodies have always been connected. Your souls will always be connected. I'm so sorry, Rickey. Well, if you be all what's left of my ancestors' sacrilege, then with you I shall stand and breathe for Eric Garner. Stand up straight and straighten my spine for Walter Scott. And always remember the bodies that have adorned your branches, every root and root and root of dogwood and all my dogs. Here I am, black and ashy, filtering air, ready to be evergreen, ready to be a part of the forest. Ready to finally be home.
My name is Taylor Ratliff, and I will be one of your mini hosts tonight for this beautiful exposition that we have for you guys. Tonight, I will be representing, and I will be also giving up the stage tonight for sophomore Derek Collins. He is from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, majoring in political science with a minor in philosophy and legal studies.
Tonight, he will be giving an informative speech about Zora Neale Hurston's 2018 book, Barracoon, which was originally written in the 1930s. Why did it take so long to be published? What can we learn from it tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Stay tuned.
This is...
Anthony Mack.
And here is Derek Collins.
Zora Neale Hurston, best known for her groundbreaking African-American novels like Their Eyes Were Watching God, was not yet famous in 1928, the year she conducted the most important interview of her life. Before her sat 80-year-old Oluwole Kasula, widely believed to be the last living African shipped to America and forced into slavery. Over a series of encounters, he revealed the horrors of his journey, as well as reflections on post-Civil War America. Hurston hoped to correct an egregious oversight of prevailing works on the slave trade. All these words from the seller, she wrote, but not one word from the soul. Unfortunately, the work was lost to time and didn't resurface for 90 years. In May of 2018, Barracoon, the story of the last black cargo, was finally published. And equally as fascinating as Kasula's tale itself is what took so long. The New York Times on May 1st, 2018 explains, interestingly, Alice Walker, the author of The Color Purple, found Hurston's original interviews hidden in a Howard University archive and worked for decades to bring them to life. With its publication, Barracoon not only restores Kasula's voice, it also positions Hurston as an underappreciated anthropological scholar. Meanwhile, we are reminded of the monumental hurdles placed before black narratives and authors. So, let's explore the story of Barracoon, its journey to publication, and implications of an account we've waited nearly a century to hear. When Hurston first approached Kasula about writing the book, he was a bit reluctant. Rehashing past trauma, even with good intentions, is never easy. Let's explore how Hurston gained his trust, and then Kasula's story. Initially, Hurston began by totally ingratiating herself into Kasula's life. The Smithsonian of May 2nd, 2018 explains she would help him clean the church where he was a sexton, and even bring him summertime fruits like peaches and watermelon. But the main way she ingratiated herself to him was by accepting him fully, starting with his name. Hurston was the only person he knew that didn't use his slave name, Cujo, opting instead for Kasula. She writes he would often tear up.
What do you think about all this? So you guys want me some hands?
He said in one interview, "You always calling me Kasula, just like I in the Africa story." You'll notice his accent is still preserved in her writings. Yet another way Hurston attempted to gain Kasula's trust, recording him accurately. Next, once comfortable, Kasula began describing his tumultuous past, which eventually became Hurston's 2018 book, Barracoon. In the spring of 1860, soldiers from Dahomey raided Kasula's town, kidnapping as many as they could, and beheading everyone else. He was sold to William Foster, captain of the ship Clotilda. After an arduous trek across the Atlantic, the ship was burned, because at this point, slavery was legal, but the slave trade was not. Kasula endured forced labor for over 5 years. After emancipation, he banded together with 24 former slaves and founded Africatown in Plateau, Alabama. Kasula started a family, but lost each member one by one through natural causes or violence. Sadly, this story doesn't have a happy ending. He once confided in Hurston, "Kasula feels so lonely, he can't help, he cries sometimes." Hurston was able to fully chronicle Kasula's story. However, some of her decisions hindered their work from being well received, namely Kasula's accent and accusations of plagiarism. First, Hurston's fidelity to Kasula's voice rendered Barracoon unpopular from the start. The Washington Post of May 7, 2018 explains, Viking Press wanted the story, but in plain language, arguing that Kasula's accent made him too hard to understand. But white publishers weren't the only ones who took issue with Hurston's decision. History magazine of May 3, 2018 explains, Black leaders of the time objected to this portrayal of a stereotypical, uneducated black man, placing this caricature into the minds of white America, they argued, would erode decades of progress. However, as the post continues, Hurston vehemently refused to revise her manuscript. She promised to tell Kasula's story in his voice, unedited for any audience. After her death in 1960, Barracoon was just another unpublished work, collected and donated to the Howard University Library. Next, it collected dust until 1973, when Alice Walker stumbled across it. She immediately recognized its value, but faced new battles over its legitimacy. Time of May 10, 2018 explains accusations of plagiarism emerged when an early Hurston article about Kasula showed eerie similarities to a 1914 book by a woman who interviewed him a decade earlier. In his 1977 biography of Hurston, Robert E. Hemingway accused her of taking creative liberties, calling her an artist rather than a historian. However, Walker's commitment to the project and more recent examinations have vindicated the work. And as time concludes, the book is both original and accurate. In life, Hurston never received the credit that she rightfully deserved. But thanks to Barracoon, her legacy persists through two implications regarding respectability politics and black history. First, resistance to an inconvenient black man was not limited to the 1930s. African Americans criticized Kasula as a caricature, worried about white perceptions. But Kasula was a real person. Medium of June 19, 2017 explains, this phenomenon continues today. Black people don't want our identity hijacked any more than it already has been. So we keep it on a short leash. We're chastised harshly by members of our own community for deviant behavior. And by proxy, white perceptions rule how we are allowed to dress, how loud we can be, and whose story gets told. Calls to change Kasula's accent never went away. They morphed into a lie that still haunts us. Systemic oppression could be easily dismantled if only we pick up our pants and turn down our music. In essence, in order to protect black identity, we often restrict it. Finally, what Alice Walker discovered was extraordinary, but equally as important is where she found it. Howard isn't the only historically black university with invaluable archives. HBCU Lifestyle of November 7, 2014 explains, Fisk University holds the papers of W.E.B. Du Bois and Langston Hughes. Tuskegee University possesses the papers of George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington. However, amidst these famous collections, hide unexplored, forgotten pieces of African American history. Had it not been for Alice Walker scouring the Howard archives, Barracoon may have remained lost to the world. The article furthers, with so much of our history left unexplored, HBCUs appear to be prime places to unearth these treasured stories. The publications of Hurston's work reinforces that HBCUs are not merely educational institutions. They are repositories for black history. Zora Neale Hurston was buried in an unmarked grave, in what Alice Walker described as a field of bees and snakes. After exploring the story of Barracoon, its journey to publication and implications, we understand why that's a tragedy, one that Alice Walker could not accept. She commissioned a tombstone worthy of a great anthropologist. It now reads, Zora Neale Hurston, genius of the South.
I'm trying to talk. I'm Do we got any class 2021 here?
Yeah.
That's what we thought some calling out. All right, our next speaker is a senior and a leader on the WKU Forensic Team, my sister, Andrea Amdam. She's all the way from Kansas City, Missouri, double majoring in psychology and criminal.
Tonight, for a final time bringing the Black Excellence Expo stage, she will be presenting a proposed exposition, which is essentially a storytelling album.
Her prose enter the ranks and fantasies to explore the struggles that young Black people face when attempting to connect and properly honor their ancestors. Please help me welcome Andrea Amdam.
The trouble started when I didn't get enough sleep. I had just gotten home from the whitest 4th of July cookout ever. They didn't even call it a cookout. They called it a barbecue. But there was no pork. New England people do whiteness like they invented it and then forgot. So I tried to forget about it too. So I got back to Jersey and my flight to London was late that same night. I love the way it feels like JFK is staying open for me. I'm famous when I cross the Atlantic. Time stopped and then moves backwards, just for me. Anyway, the flight was whatever. I drifted in and out. And when I got to the airport, I was focused just enough to make it to the hotel. So when I put my bag down and swore I saw my sister in the mirror, I mean, we do wear our hair the same way now. I walked over to the mirror. And I called my sister. Sandra, there are mermaids in the mirror. They look like us and they want me to. I don't know what they want me to do. The transatlantic slave trade, or the Middle Passage, is the largest movement of people in history. Yet of the 15 million Africans forcibly transported across the Atlantic, it is estimated at least 4 million were lost at sea. So many that shark migration patterns shifted to feed on the bodies thrown overboard. In her 2002 article, The Time of Slavery, Dr. Shadiah Hartman argues these horrors began the modern African diaspora. And in any attempt to reassemble, we must confront our transatlantic trauma. Author Alexis Pauline Gum centers this journey on one woman's attempt at reconciliation, ultimately reminding us, we are not only descended from those who lived, but from those we lost as well. Blue Bella, by Alexis Pauline Gum. At first I think, it's jet lag. But there were mermaids in the framed hotel mirror, the mirror from home, the water in the toilet, the whole wall over the bathroom counter. And it's Europe, so the room is small. By the end of the week, I covered everything with even the slightest bit of reflectivity. I draped a blanket over the large hotel mirror. What I want you to know is, I'm not afraid of ghosts. Nah, they exist, just like we do. But these were blue, mirrored mermaids with scaly, melanated skin that spoke a particular underwater, garbled message that sounded almost sweet. But it started to ring everywhere. Blue Bella, blue below. Blue below. Be blowhole, bless blue. Blue be bleed black, Blair blue, below blue, bleed blood black, be blood blue below, black, bleed blood blue. I went online and I found other people blogging about these mermaids in the mirror. The chosen people. That's what they call them. This is a group for people who have gotten tired of looking in mirrors. If you're reading this, the reflection has become impossible to ignore. This is a black-only space. We will discuss the blues. So, I went. Here's what they've deciphered so far. We each have a corresponding underwater contact. They're calling us from the mirrors. By us, they mean the descendants of the Middle Passage. African American and Afro-Caribbean people who have crossed back over the Atlantic. They need us. They think we are ready to do what they need us to do. They need our blackness, our action, urgently. I felt my breath speeding up. You know, when I think of my ancestors showing up, it's comforting. I like the idea that we are still connected. But it was the urgency of what they wanted. You know, I didn't know if I'd ever be able to go home. My day's full of what I wanted, you know, what I decided they should be full of. I wasn't the one who decided to reach across centuries. We were not the ones who jumped ship. Just because they stole you, stole us, stole them, you know, just because we're black, it doesn't mean we are ready, right? It doesn't mean we have nothing to lose. Every night after that night, I dreamt the dreams of the chained. I was drowning, tossing and turning. Every dream a storm of mermaids, the stabbing fronts of boats, dolphins turning into sharks, the teeth. The history book says some enslaved people jumped because they couldn't take it. Some took children with them. The history book says some of us jumped, but now we know it was total. All of us jumped. If not embodied, then in spirit, all of us stayed. If not in bone, then in memory. A middle passage is the name for always fled from ourselves. I woke up suddenly, holding the toilet bowl like a life raft. The horrors of that journey baptized us in our trueness. Never again would we only breathe air. Never again would they only breathe water. No, usually we weren't looking at the depth of the ocean like a mirror. We weren't searching for an underwater twin to reconnect to. We had survived so much separation. I didn't even imagine wholeness. Didn't even dream with reuniting with the part of us that drowned. until we did. I realized I knew what I needed to do. I took the sheet off the mirror and she was there. The curly-haired one that looked like me. And a whole group of others that looked like the people from the meeting. Blue Bellow, I know, you need us. We are here. Tell us what we need to do.
personal with y'all. Hold on. Hey, if you ain't broke, say yeah. If you got $1, say yeah. Dang, some of these y'all go support my chain like an alpha girl. For real. $1 concessions, but look, you can't eat food or drinks in here. So go support them, please, y'all. It would mean the world to me. We're gonna take a 10-minute intermission. 10-minute intermission, y'all. All right.
You are in the audience and have been affected by I.S.P.E.C.T program. Please raise your hand. Y'all ain't ready to be a scholar?
You are in the audience and have been impacted by the I.S.P.E.C.T program. Please raise your hand. All right.
Although they couldn't make it tonight, let us quickly take some time to acknowledge the strong leaders who continue to lead the Black community towards Black excellence. Ms. Christina, Dr. Sales,
Let us also take this time to acknowledge the Black leaders on the Forensics Team, Jeremy Frazier and Chad Meadows. Speaking on them will be sophomores Taylor Radcliffe and Simone Whalen.
Jeremy, you hold the weight of every Black member of the WKU Forensic Team. Not only have you helped me grow as a performer, but you helped me grow as a person this semester by far. Our first strong Black coach, we rely on you in our hard essentials and we thank you for everything that you've done for all of us. Thank you for always being our strength. Thank you for always telling us to be outspoken. And thank you for always telling us that we have to push our messages. Thank you, Jeremy.
I want to say a huge thank you to Chad Meadows. Being Black in a white institution is hard enough, but being Black in speech and debate is even harder. Going up to the office and knowing that I have a coach that is a strong, Black, educated man is amazing. Being able to go into limited prep events and even see him work with the debate team is outstanding to me. Knowing that these events are not set up for Black people and knowing that he breaks that status quo every day. So I thank you so much for being that example for me and any other Black person on the circuit. Thank you so much. We can never show you the gratitude that you deserve.
All right, y'all. I'm just here to turn up. Y'all here to turn up? No, y'all look good, though. Let me take a quick picture of y'all real quick. Hold on. Now, for real, on the count of 3, everybody say blackout, okay? On the count of 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Blackout!
Radical Purge, sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been fire, and emergency medical services will be unavailable until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. when the purge concludes. Blessed be our new founding fathers and America. May she reborn. May God be with you.
I don't see how you can hate from outside of the church. Leg out.
You better like break your back.
Alright, so now we're about to get to it. Zakiya Sanders is a sophomore here at WKU, all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota. She's a marketing major and African American Studies minor.
Tonight, Zakiya will be giving an after-dinner speech, which is essentially a comedic speech on serious topics. Her speech will be on the topic of criminalizing of the color black.
Please welcome to the stage, Zakiya Sanders.
Growing up black, you learn that word can mean a lot of things. Whenever I got in trouble, my mother would yell, "Zakiya, bring your black ass in!" And you know you in trouble when your mama say your government name.
And in the movie Color Purple, Mr. tried to make Miss Seeley feel bad by saying, you're black, you're poor, you're a woman. Damn, come on, 3 of those. But it hit me in 3rd grade when this girl got mad at me and she was like, that's why I'm white and you're black and that means I'm better than you. And I told the teacher, he said, just ignore her. But I'm not good at following instructions. So I went back and slapped the mess out of her. Ain't nobody better than me. Period. But dang, I'm tired of hearing black getting thrown around like it's a bad thing. And I don't just mean for people. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, since the 1500s, black has been used to figuratively mean having dark or deadly purposes, malignant, disaster, sinister. They've been talking down on my favorite shade since Martin Luther was out here nailing diss tracks to church doors. Using negative connotations on black doesn't help how the world views black people. How are we supposed to be saying, black is beautiful, black power, when y'all making black sound like it's bad? White people view us as criminals or worse. But I believe we're more magical. Let's do some cause, effects, and solutions because there's other good ways to say that's bad, like that's white, or that's Caucasian. It doesn't feel good, white people does it. Remember in 2016 when Beyonce announced that she was black, and all the white people were like, oh my God, I had no idea. Has she been black this whole time? She's always been so nice. Exactly why she's black. White people ain't nice. Okay. Slavery, hello. Causes. We like to give our language some color, but we wind up being influenced by the past. First, color words spice up our language. And white people be used some spice. Red reminds us of blood, so it makes us feel angry or excited. Blue is calm, reminds us of the ocean or the sky. Until you see your ex's blue sweater. And it reminds you to drive to his mother's house and cuss her out for all the trouble she caused you. I'm sorry. Other color words don't make sense. Like green representing green. All money ain't green. Euros are all orange and yellow and purple. You make it rain with a stack of euros? You be making it rain? Whoa. We get so used to colors representing feelings, so it doesn't seem wrong when one color almost always seems to mean bad. Next, guess what color is associated with bad? I mean, we all know where it comes from. Black is the color of darkness, which people are afraid of. So because black equals dark and dark equals scary, we wind up associating black with all this stuff. When in reality, I can think of so many white things that are scary. Clowns, ghosts, salt. That sodium will get you every time. We use black to mean all kinds of negative things. Black sheep, black-hearted, black market, black bliss, black cheese, black cheesecake. Must I go on? It's hard being black. When I get to heaven, hopefully that's where I'm going, I'm going to speak to the manager. What things got to be like this? I'm not saying I want to be white. I just want to know why some of these decisions were made. Using black to mean bad reinforces the division that we live, and it can change the way people think and act. First, letting black mean bad makes our language look just like the society we live in. Messed up and divided. You see, it's not about the particular words or phrases. It's about the emotional connection that we form to them. That's exactly what a 2009 study at Monash University discovered. Think about what color comes to mind when I say things like innocent, pure, virgin. All right, now try death, decay, evil. Those emotional reactions that you feel, all of that black that you just saw, that means that deep down inside, you're racist. Nah, I'm just kidding. Kinda.
basic emotional reaction is rooted in the place of our language. We got enough ways to divide us up. We don't need to be going making new ones every time we open our mouths. Next, language affects behavior. Because when we're constantly told something, we actually start to believe it. It's kind of how like when Rachel Dolezal was telling herself that she was black. You know, she actually started to believe it. Forgot about her white parents and made our real stupid goofy self think that she was going to run the NAACP. Had us all bamboozled. In 2015, a journal in Experimental Social Psychology, researchers changed the newspaper crime report to use either black or African American to describe a suspect. They found that whites view suspects more negatively when you identify them as black versus African American. Putting negative connotations on black, just keep pushing our people to the margins. And we can't let that happen, or else we'll lose all the good things in life, like seasoned food and rhythm. Y'all need us. I have a hard time with remembering white people's names, and I figured out the reason is because I just don't want to. But I'm working on it though. I'm trying to be a better listener. I can memorize the whole list of white people's names. So whenever I forget, I just yell them out at random. Jeffrey! Ashley! Sarah! Yay! Solutions are easy. Same when reframing the word black. Learn some new phrases and know the power of language. First, he's gonna teach you some new words. My mama always told me, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. That's why. But that's why I stopped old girl in 3rd grade. No conversation necessary. I like that. But I can slap the whole world off. So I kindly ask that you avoid using words that associate black with bad. Like, say illicit economy instead of saying black market. Say evil instead of saying black-hearted. Instead of saying black sheep, say Kanye West. Y'all have bashed these words so bad that y'all made black people feel bad for being exactly what we are, which is black. But we're slowly turning it around. It all started with my man James Brown, R.I.P. All my black people in the crowd, I really want y'all to join in. Say it loud. We don't know black people feel left out. Finally, we need to stop thinking that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I'll never forget in 6th grade when Gary told me he'll never date a black girl. What he said was offensive and hurtful. And it's something that I still think about today. Let's be real. I don't care about Gary. I mean, come on now, his name's Gary. But we can't tolerate our language having these pieces of our problematic past. If we allow people to throw around the idea that black is somehow less desirable, we empower those who tear down blackness rather than build up the confidence and the pride of young black people. Come on, y'all. Say it with me. I'm black and I'm proud. 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 Never feel bad for Congress ever. Y'all know I'm black and I'm proud, but I want to hear somebody who's black every time they're trying to make something sound bad. So, today we looked at how black is used to mean bad, why that's a problem, and how we all should just cut it out. Unless your mama tells you to bring your black ass here. That's never good.
Enjoying the performances so far? So the last performance of the evening, you saw him earlier, you're going to see him again. He's sophomore Ryan Gosling, and he will be performing a dramatic duo interpretation with Rickey Williams, who you might have seen running around. He's born in Chicago, raised in Minnesota, and he's a sophomore here on the Hill, majoring in marketing and data analytics. Today, they'll be performing a cutting of a play about the genesis of Black LGBT history and slavery. This is going to be a very dramatic, beautiful performance, and they will not be using mics, so they're going to speak up for you guys. But without further ado, could you please welcome our final speakers, Ryan Gosling and Rickey Williams.
Oh, heaven, there is no relief this side of the grave to soothe the pain and quell the grief and anguish of a slave.
What's your name, boy?
Benjamin.
What was that?
Benjamin.
I'ma call your lips because you act like you don't know how to use it.
I said my name is Benjamin, it is not this lips.
There he goes now. Where you from, boy?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it do. Well, what's your real name? You ain't cutting that right.
I am not needing your help. Shit.
See what I tell you? Master called me Henry, but before I get there, my name was Metumbe. You always remember where you come from, because one day you're gonna leave, one way or another.
My name is Abadan.
Abigail.
Ah.
Too often, the genesis of Black queer history is discussed within the context of the HIV/AIDS epidemic.
However, the Huffington Post of February 2016 argues that our Black queer bodies were subjected to the same slavery, segregation, and racial injustice, just like our straight counterparts. Yet somehow, our narratives have become completely erased from the public consciousness.
Using poetry from various slaves and sugar fields by Jeffrey Langston, we seek to exonerate these stories in hopes of shedding light on our history.
Because just as our Black queer bodies exist now,
they existed back then.
Sune sune mine ife. Sune sune mine ife. Sune sune mine.
What's that song you singing?
It is the song of my people at our pre-war song.
Oh, so you getting ready for war?
Child, I've been at war since birth. But singing it gives me hope for all of this.
Hope is a blessing around here.
It is. Question? Why doesn't the master have me walk the fields with everybody else?
Because when I saw you, I asked for you.
You asked for me? Why?
I mean, I needs the help. It's a lot of hungry mouths to feed, and I mean, cuz.
Cuz what?
Cuz. Thought you was beautiful.
How did you know about me?
I did. But you just told me.
Sune sune mine ife. Sune sune. What are you doing, Ed? You know we have to be quiet. You are such a mischief.
I am a mischief, but you love me.
Do I?
Well, damn it, I hope so. Show thinks I loves you.
Prove it.
Not once more, a dark-eyed king. He clasped his neck, he kissed his cheek, he held him by the hand. Yet something still his heart surveys, groping through this dreary maze. Is it hope? Then let this feeling burn and blaze. So, Abby, you ever think about your family?
I tried not to. They were taken before I came here, so I don't know where they are. And you?
Only family I'm ever gonna have is the ones Master gives to me.
Excuse? I do not understand.
You ever see those boys tending to the livestock and hell, even some of them out in the field?
Yes, what?
They all mine. Master made me happy.
Henry, how can that be? And why you?
A strong man makes strong men, and Master need the workers.
No, Henry. I am understanding what is happening. I just don't understand why you are letting these things happen.
Abby, you really think I got a choice?
Yes, Henry. This is your body. And you get to choose how you use it.
No! This is not my body. This body has been paid for in full, so I must do as I'm told. Listen, I know that what I'm doing ain't right, but it's what I gotta do to survive, all right?
Henry, my love, I have a surprise for you. Close your eyes.
You ain't gonna cut me, is you?
I said close them. Now open. Massa, he calls it his compass. Says it can show you the way to freedom, huh?
You stole this from Master.
Yes. My love, don't you know what this means? It means we can finally be free of this place.
Abby, no, you need to take this back now.
What do you mean, no, Henry? This is our only chance of leaving this place.
I said no, academic.
Then I do not understand. Huh? Because you said that the pains of having to lay with these women kept you up at night. And you said that you loved me. That you could only see yourself laying with me, and now I have given you your escape to freedom and you howl at me. No, stop!
It ain't no such thing as two niggas loving each other and being free. Abby, I love you, but I can't.
I can't. But you won't. Sooner mine ife. Sooner mine ife. Don't you know what it means? It means fighting for what you love. And I would rather die by your side fighting for our freedom than be here and have nothing worth fighting for. So please, go with me.
We gotta keep doing that. Just 300 more.
Wait, my love. I think my paces are slightly off.
What do you mean?
If we were 300 paces beside the river, we should be able to see it by now, but I can't see it.
I told you this wouldn't work. You hear the dogs, Abby. Abby, you need to go.
No,
Abby,
no, I am about to leave.
I'll come right back. I swear. I swear.
So much more dark-eyed king.
Just tell him I'm sorry, please. Just tell him I'll be back.
The driver's order.
Get off of me, please. Get off of me.
Lion.
Please, have mercy on me.
What have they done to you? These golden chains with brittle reins. I am so sorry, my lord. I just wanted you to be free from that, please.
There's nothing you could have done.
No. We can fix this, eh? We can fix this. You just have to breathe, eh? Go.
Sune. You better. All right, y'all, that's the show. Really appreciate it. It's so important that we continue to put on events like this where we're educating our people, especially in the climate that we're in today, y'all. We got to be awake, stay focused, and keep spreading these messages. Everything you heard tonight, I beg you, do not let these messages stay on this stage. Tell somebody, change somebody's life, and I hope to God that we impacted somebody. That's always the goal. I thank y'all so much for everything. Have a good night, y'all.